In a village called Silverwood, tucked between two green hills, there lived an old man named Elian. Elian had a job. He was the lamplighter. But Silverwood did not need a lamplighter anymore. Many years ago, the village had installed new lights. They were called glowstones. They were bright, blue-white lights that stood on tall, thin, metal poles. The glowstones lit themselves when the sun went down. They made the main square and the wide streets as bright as day. The villagers were very proud of their new lights. Elian's lamps were old. They were made of heavy, black iron and thick glass. They stood on short, wide poles. These old lamps were only in the forgotten part of the village. They were in the narrow, stone streets where the houses were small. They were in the alleys where no one walked. The villagers thought Elian was a fool. They saw him every evening, just before sunset. He would walk from his small house with a long pole and a cloth. He would go to the old, forgotten streets. He would stop at the first lamp. He would use his cloth to wipe the glass clean. He would check the oil. Then, he would use his pole to light the wick. A small, warm, yellow light would appear. Then he would walk to the next lamp. And the next. One by one, he would light all 12 of the old lamps. People would watch him from their windows. "Look at old Elian," they would whisper. "He is wasting his time." "Why does he light those old lamps?" a shopkeeper asked. "No one ever uses those streets." "The glowstones are much brighter," said the baker. "His work is useless." Sometimes, children would follow him. "Old man," they would shout, "your lamps are weak. Our glowstones are strong." Elian would just turn and smile. His face was full of lines, and his eyes were kind. "A light is a light," he would say, his voice soft. "It is always good to have light." Most people left him alone. He was a simple, quiet man. He lived in a small, stone house at the edge of the old streets. He had a small garden. He spoke to no one, and no one spoke to him. He just did his work. Every evening, he lit the lamps. Every morning, he put them out. He polished the iron. He cleaned the glass. He kept the wicks trimmed. He loved his lamps. Each one was a friend. One day, a new family moved into the village. They had a small daughter named Lyra. Lyra was not like the other children. She was quiet, and she liked to watch. She saw Elian on his evening walk. She did not shout at him. She followed him quietly from a distance. She watched him clean the glass of a lamp. He was so gentle. He polished it until it shined. He spoke to the lamp. "There now," he whispered. "You look beautiful today." He lit the lamp. The warm, yellow glow pushed back the evening shadows. It made the old, gray stones of the street look warm and golden. Lyra stepped out from her hiding place. Elian turned. He was not surprised. He smiled at her. "Hello, little one," he said. "Why do you do that?" Lyra asked. Her voice was small. "Do what?" Elian asked. "Light the lamps. The other children say it's a useless job. They say the glowstones are better." Elian looked up at the warm light he had just lit. "The glowstones are very bright," he agreed. "They are very new. But they are cold." "Cold?" Lyra asked. "Yes. Their light is blue and sharp. It pushes the darkness away. It shouts at the night." He pointed at his own lamp. The yellow light was soft. It flickered in the gentle wind. This light is different. It does not shout. It whispers. It says, "It is dark, but do not be afraid. I am here. I am warm. You are safe." Lyra looked at the light. She felt it. It did feel safe. "But no one comes here," she said. "That is why I light them," Elian said. He tapped the iron pole. "I light them because they are here. They were here before the glowstones. They are strong and faithful. They need someone to light them." He looked down the narrow, empty street. "A dark path is a sad path," he said. "Even if no one walks it. Maybe a small animal is lost. Maybe the moon is lonely. So I give them light." Lyra did not understand all of his words, but she understood his feeling. She liked the old man and his warm, yellow lights. From that day on, she would sometimes walk with him. She would carry his cleaning cloth. He taught her how to check the oil. He told her the name of each lamp. There was Old Tom, Steady, and Bright Eye. The village paid Elian almost nothing. They let him live in the small house for free. That was his pay. He does a useless job, so he gets a useless house, the mayor had said. Elian did not mind. He had his garden. He had his lamps. And now he had a small friend, Lyra. One year, the village decided to have a great festival of progress. It was to celebrate the 5th anniversary of the glowstones. The mayor made a big announcement in the main square. "Our village is the brightest in the valley," he shouted. The crowd cheered. "We are a village of the future. We have no more dark corners. We have no more shadows." The crowd cheered again. And to celebrate this, the mayor continued, "We will finally clean up the old part of town. We will take down those old, ugly iron lamps. They are a waste of space. They remind us of the dark past." The people cheered loudest of all. "Yes," shouted the baker. "Take them down." "No more useless work," shouted the shopkeeper, looking at Elian. Elian was standing at the back of the crowd. He had come to buy bread. When he heard the mayor's words, his heart felt heavy. It felt like a stone. Take down his lamps? Take down Old Tom and Steady and Bright Eye? He did not say anything. He was a simple man. He did not know how to argue with a mayor. He just turned, very slowly, and walked back to his small house. Lyra had been in the crowd. She saw Elian's face. She ran after him. "Elian! Elian!" she called. He stopped, but he did not turn around. She caught up to him. She saw a tear on his old face. "It's not fair," she whispered. She took his big, rough hand. "They are beautiful lamps. I love your light." Elian looked down at the small girl. He tried to smile. "The mayor said they will take them down next week," he said. His voice was heavy. "After the festival." "What will you do?" Lyra asked. Elian was quiet for a long time. He looked up at the sky. "I will do my job," he said. "I have one more week. I will light them for one more week. I will make them look beautiful for their last days." He smiled at Lyra. "I will make them beautiful, just for you." For the next 6 days, Elian worked harder than he had ever worked. He did not just clean the glass. He polished the black iron until it shined like a mirror. He pulled every weed from around the base of the poles. He filled the oil in each lamp to the very top. He was saying goodbye to his 12 friends. Lyra helped him. She held the tools. She polished the low parts of the iron. She felt very sad. "They are just old metal, Lyra," Elian said softly. "The light is the important part. The light will be remembered." Then, the night of the great festival of progress arrived. It was the 7th night. It was the last night for Elian's lamps. The entire village was in the main square. The mayor had ordered the glowstones to be turned up. They were extra bright for the festival. The blue-white light was so strong, it hurt the eyes. It made everyone look pale and sick. But the villagers did not care. "So bright," they said. "So modern." There was music. There was food. The mayor got up to give a speech. "Friends, welcome," he shouted. "Welcome to the brightest night in the history of Silverwood. Tonight, we celebrate our future. We celebrate the end of darkness. From this night on, our village will be a beacon of progress." The crowd cheered and clapped. As the mayor spoke, Elian was not in the square. He was in the old, forgotten part of town. He was on his last walk. He went to Old Tom. He wiped the glass one last time. He lit the wick. "Goodbye, old friend," he whispered. The warm, yellow light glowed. He went to Steady. He lit the wick. "Thank you," he said. He went to Bright Eye. He lit the wick. One by one, he lit all 12 lamps. The narrow, stone streets were filled with a soft, warm, golden light. Elian stood at the end of the last street. He looked at his beautiful, faithful lights. "It is done," he said. He felt a great sadness, but also a great peace. He had done his job. He turned to go home to his small house. And then, it happened. A wind came down from the mountains. It was not a normal wind. It was not a storm. It was a silence. A cold, heavy, dark wind. It had no sound. It just came. It flowed into the village like a black river. In the main square, the mayor stopped speaking. He felt the cold. What is that?" he asked. The music stopped. The people looked around. The great, bright, blue-white glowstones began to flicker. Hiss. Pop. One of the glowstones went dark. Flicker. Hiss. Pop. Another one went dark. And another. The magic new lights were afraid of this strange, dark wind. The lights, someone screamed. The lights are going out. Within 10 seconds, every single glowstone in the main square was dead. Click. Pop, hiss. Dark. The darkness was total. It was a perfect, deep blackness. It was a darkness no one had ever seen. The moon was hidden. The stars were gone. It was so dark, people could not see their own hands. It was so dark, it felt like the world had ended. For a moment, there was silence. Then, the panic began. People screamed. They were terrified. I can't see. I can't see. Where is my son? I can't find my son. Help me. Someone help. People began to run, but they did not know where they were running. They crashed into each other. They fell over tables. They were lost in the middle of their own village. The blue-white lights had been so bright, their eyes were blind in the dark. The mayor was shouting, "Be calm, be calm. The lights will come back on." But the lights did not come back on. The darkness was heavy and cold. It felt alive. Elian, in his part of town, saw the darkness fall. He saw the main square vanish. But he was not in the dark. He was standing under the warm, yellow glow of his last lamp. He looked at the lamp. The flame flickered a little, but it held strong. The wind could not touch this simple, old flame. It was protected by the thick glass that Elian had polished. The lamp was built to last. The lamp was strong. He looked down the street. All 12 of his lamps were shining. They were a path of warm, golden light in the middle of a black, cold, and terrifying world. Back in the square, the panic was getting worse. People were crying. Then a small voice shouted. It was Lyra. She was holding her mother's hand. She was scared, but she had been with Elian. She knew his light. Look, she screamed. Look, the light. Everyone stopped. They looked where she was pointing. Through the panic, through the crowd, they saw it. It was far away, but it was there. A small, warm, yellow light. And beside it, another. And another. It was a path of safety. The old lamps, someone whispered. It's the old lamps. They are still lit, shouted the baker. The light. Go to the light, shouted the shopkeeper. A few people started to walk. Then they ran. They ran away from the dark, cold, modern square. They ran towards the old, narrow streets. They ran towards Elian's useless, forgotten lights. The crowd followed. They stumbled, but the lights guided them. This way. I can see the light. Stay on the golden path. They poured into the narrow streets. The warm, yellow light fell on their faces. They could see again. They found their children. They held each other. They were shaking. The 12 lamps, shining brightly, lit the entire old part of town. The strange, dark wind howled above the rooftops, but it could not come into the warm light. The people huddled together under the lamps. They were safe. They found Elian. He was not doing anything special. He was just checking the wick on old Tom. He wanted to make sure it was burning well. He looked up as the entire village came towards him. The mayor was at the front. His face was white. He was shaking. He looked at Elian. He looked at the strong, steady, simple flame of the old lamp. He opened his mouth. He wanted to say, "Thank you." He wanted to say, "I'm sorry." But no words came out. He was too ashamed. Elian just looked at the mayor and at all the frightened people. He smiled his simple, kind smile. "It is all right," Elian said softly. "The path is lit. You are safe." The villagers stayed in the old streets all night. They sat under the 12 warm lamps. They felt safe. They felt at peace. When the sun finally rose, the strange, dark wind was gone. The villagers slowly, quietly, walked back to the main square. The new, expensive glowstones were broken. They were cold, black, and dead. They looked useless. The villagers looked at their broken, modern lights. Then they looked back at the old, narrow streets. Far away, Elian was walking his morning path. With his pole, He was putting out his lamps, one by one. Their work was done. No one spoke. That afternoon, the mayor did not make a speech. He just went to Elian's small house. The whole village followed. Elian was in his garden, pulling weeds. He looked up. The mayor stepped forward. He was holding his hat in his hands. "Elian," the mayor said. His voice was quiet. "Your work, it is not useless. It is the most important work in the village. You saved us. Your lights saved us." Elian stood up. He wiped the dirt from his hands. "The lamps are good lamps," he said. "They just needed someone to light them." The mayor looked at the ground. We were going to take them down." "I know," Elian said. "We will not," said the mayor. "We will never take them down. Will you? Will you keep lighting them?" "It is my job," Elian said with a smile. From that day on, Silverwood changed. They did not take down the old iron lamps. They fixed them. They polished them. They put up new iron lamps, just like the old ones. They repaired the new glowstones. But they were different now. The villagers had learned a lesson. The brightest light is not always the best light. The newest thing is not always the strongest thing. Elian was no longer the foolish old man. He was the most respected man in the village. He was the keeper of the light. He continued his work every evening. But now he was not alone. Lyra walked with him. He taught her how to clean the glass. He taught her how to trim the wick. He taught her the names of all the lamps. And sometimes other villagers would walk with them. They would walk in the warm, yellow light and feel safe. The story of Elian and the lamps is a simple story. In our world, we love new things. We love things that are bright and fast and easy. We are told that newer is always better. We often forget the old things, the slow things, the quiet, simple work that no one sees. A small act of kindness, a simple duty done faithfully every day, a promise you keep, a truth you hold. These are the old lamps. The world may tell you that your work is useless. The world may tell you that your light is small and weak. You may feel forgotten, but you must keep your light burning. You must polish the glass even when no one is watching. You must do your simple, faithful work, because you do not know when the great darkness will come. You do not know when the world's new, bright, and magic lights will suddenly go out. And when they do, your small, steady, faithful light will be the one that saves everyone. Your light will be the one that shows the world the way home.